Director, Contract Services, BDCS, Miskyah Toth.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Good afternoon, everybody. How lovely to be here. We're celebrating ladies. Thank you to Topco Media. And I don't want to forget to say hi to everybody online. We've got a huge online audience, don't we? It is my privilege to speak to you today about something that takes a lifetime of cultivating. But I've got 10 minutes to talk about resilience, so that's not going to be so easy, but I'm going to try and get that done. The word cultivating, cultivate. We cultivate something over a period of time. It's a process, am I right? But what do we need most? This is one of those factors in life that can make the difference between where I am today and where I'm going to be tomorrow. What is my future? We should be, as mothers and as businesswomen and as business leaders to our staff, continuously thinking about this one thing, and that is to cultivate resilience. Now, resilience, and why do we do this? Because why would we only want to survive? And isn't that true? So often we may even get to those places where we survive and we're not thriving. Thriving is where we've been designed to be, ladies. We were not designed just to survive. We were designed to thrive. And one of those key elements that we have to work at is resilience. Now, if we look at the definition, I just want to quickly have a look at it because we always hear, these fancy words, you've got to cultivate resilience. But resilience is that factor that takes us from, when you've been hit hard, and often in life we're getting hit hard. People are having to raise their children alone. Ladies, also men. We have times when the business closed down. We have those days where we simply don't know, where am I going to get the next money maybe from? Because that's the time that we're living in. A couple of years ago, we had the COVID-19 pandemic. Was it easy? No. I don't think any of us, who would have ever thought that we'll go through something like that? And what is the quality that takes you and me through that time successful? Because we're still supposed to thrive. And not long after that, we heard that there's a war in Europe. Now there's another war going on. And all of a sudden, all these thoughts can come because it's difficult. Life is not always easy. And for that, we need to live and we need to come to a place of resilience. And we need to start to cultivate that. So from a very young age, how do we do that? And let me just give this as a case study, because I'm the case study. I've been there. Because of this thing that I believe in cultivating, and I believe in cultivating it, and I did it with my children. I've got 2 very successful sons today. Thank you for that. But we had to cultivate resilience because nothing came easy. And when you think it's there, I've done it, then the next thing happens. We all know that. And you know what is the interesting thing of resilience? It's almost like we go to gym, expecting not to find those heavy weights there, isn't it? We're going to gym because we need to get a bit of a workout, am I right? When we go and we do exercise, when it's getting difficult, there's a purpose for that being difficult. Why now would you walk out of it because it gets difficult? And that, ladies and gentlemen, is what makes a difference. Is if we have it in us. Because resilience is not something you get just somewhere. That was the reason in 2020 for me personally, after many years that I was in business entrepreneur, businesswoman, single mother raising 2 boys, not knowing some days, how are we going to get them? How are we going to do this? What are all the answers? Because we don't have them. But then in 2020, when COVID came, was the one time I can talk to you about today out of my own experience. An opportunity came up to purchase a contract. And I purchased it. And then directly after that, there was lockdown. And everybody said, "What are you doing? Why do you do this?" And I said, "I'm right. I don't know how I knew it. But because I was so used to difficulties and cultivating something in my own self to understand that I'm not here for just the easy times, but I'm here to make a difference when things are going rough out there." And I purchased the contract. It's one of our major retailers, online retailers. Within 3 months, BDCS is a staff outsourcing company. So we outsource staff. And within 3 months into COVID, they started, because online purchases started going up, the company started growing, our company started growing, and it went like this, from this to this, better to better to better. Our staff complement when I bought the contract was 260. We are today, after 3 years, standing on 2,500. We're talking about a, yay, yay, we celebrate them. 35 million, that's today nearly 300 million. That, ladies, was the only difference, was resilience. And you know what we think? It's almost like when we go and we exercise for something, we think, maybe I only need it at a certain time of my life. Maybe when I am this entrepreneur, young entrepreneur, I need resilience. But we need it as we grow, as we grow, as we grow, as our companies grow. Because me as a leader in this organization, every single 100 million, 200 million that we grow, every single 1,000 people that we appoint, they are important to me. I have to be more resilient tomorrow than what I am today. And I'd like to encourage you, and my talk just briefly, I've got my autobiography here that's available for sale. Anybody who just wants to look at the road that I've gone through, I wrote that book because I specifically wanted to encourage other ladies that's gone through divorce, many, many things happening, going wrong. How do I raise it? How do I do that and still carry on? How do I do it? I mean, there's nothing in the bank account. Because you understand, when you are responsible yourself for hundreds of millions or billion, it is the same principle. And if you can know how to deal with that 100,000 or the 200 or whatever is on your plate, when the billion come, it won't be a difficulty for us any longer. That's why we do it. The book is called Iron and Silk. I compared iron, and you would think, we're talking ladies here. We like diamonds, and we like gold, and we like all the fancy things. Ladies, may I encourage you, look for the iron. Iron is a metal that's not worth much, but you cannot build anything huge without it. We have to have iron in ourselves. That day that you don't know what to say to your child, or what you don't know what to do with that financial situation, or you don't know how to say no, when you know you've got to say no, that's iron. But we are ladies. It's nice to be a lady. And we don't have to compete. There's room for all of us. There's room for men and ladies and all of us. But we still want to have the silk. Now you see, if you look at silk, it is a material that's made over a long period of time. It is very wealthy. It's a very wealthy material. It takes time. The silkworm works on it. Patience. But a woman who walks with iron on the inside and silk on the outside is a lady that will go far. Because she will know in a men's boardroom when everybody goes against her, what to say. She'll know when to be quiet. She will understand how strong she is. She will know the principles of resilience. I quickly want to go by the rules of resilience. We cultivate it by overcoming and embracing obstacles. We run to challenges and we overcome them, not backing off in the face of adversity. Why? It's like now I'm going to gym. Oh, these things look heavy. Cheers. Goodbye. It's the same thing. If we own business, it's going to be difficult. That's it. Run to it. Trust yourself. Trust your instinct. Understand who you are in that moment. We must seek opportunities in the dangerous moments of life. One of the wealthiest people in the earth, and I don't want to mention names because it's not a lady, but he was a gentleman that through the world wars were looking at situations, difficulties, and he was looking for opportunity. He became one of the wealthiest men in the world. It was a dangerous situation. And a person that's resilient and that understands that it comes from inside of you, it's a choice, it's what we wake up every morning. Be consistent. If you want to be resilient, be consistent. Get habits. Because you know what, we all wake up and think, I don't want to do it. I don't feel like this. It's really not my style. I don't want to do it. That's it. I'm just not going to go. It's so, we employ so many people. Staffing is what we do. So we need resilience. We talk to people all the time. But it is interesting how many people want actually to stay in bed and not go through the difficulty. We literally just don't want to go through it. But do we have a choice? No, you get up and you go. And we need to teach, we as women leaders need to teach and train other people that the resilience that's inside of you is something that can take you to the next moment in your life. Then I want to say the highest, most rewarding moments of resilience. When somebody cultivates resilience, the first person you do it for is for yourself. Because a mother, if I'm speaking to mothers, I know I am. You know that if you're not there, who's going to take care of those children? How many of us get that guts to get up because we understand that young man or lady needs us? So we first cultivate resilience for ourselves. The next level is we then start to play for the team. Because if you've got resilience and you teach your team to have resilience and you start to play together, we call our people the tribe. And if you've seen earlier on the BDCS, we've got our tribe magazine. I think some of you are going to get a copy of it. We're very proud of it because our tribe wins because we stand together. We're cultivating resilience. And the very last thing we do is we start to play for our country. Now, we as ladies, I used a team here, and I want to go back because over the weekend, and I know it's men that's playing in the Springbok team, but they're not ladies, but I have to say, aren't we proud of it? Each and every one of those guys has a resilience. You've got to take that ball, you've got to play the game. You've got to know the rules of your game. You cannot go, if you get into your business, you can't do something that's outside of business. You must have an understanding for the rules of your game. We've got to run businesses that are sound. Corporate governance. We need to understand what our staff needs. We cannot just run a business. We've got to understand the rules. We've got to understand if somebody is playing, I'm just using rugby as an example because it's the World Cup. But they understand that little ball has got to go one place. There, behind that line. That's the purpose of the game. Understand the purpose of your game. Understand who you're playing for. Understand whose team you're on. You don't go and play for the opposition. You're still playing in your team. Doesn't matter if we're getting along or not. And the one thing, when we can practice resilience, We all win. And there is something that we cannot bring. That's why I brought in the guys there on the rugby of last week. It was amazing. But there's nothing, no race, no age, no gender is involved with resilience. Resilience is something every human being should be pursuing. Every one of us, and you should never stop pursuing it, because if we want to grow old, ladies, and we want to leave something for our children, and our young ladies is going to become leaders in this country and everywhere in the world, and we want to leave behind that legacy, you're going to have to face obstacles. You're going to have to embrace obstacles. You and I will have to put a smile on our faces when it's going difficult. So I wish you and your teams and everywhere you go, everything of the best, a resilient year that's lying ahead, and all of the best in your businesses. Thank you very much.